Hello and welcome back to the Soul Sync podcast. It's most lovely, my darlings, to have you here. Now, today I want to start with a question. How much of your life has been shaped by fear? Not the obvious kind, the quieter voice in our head that says, what if I get this wrong? What if people will judge me? What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? Because fear, it does have a very clever way of disguising itself, doesn't it? Sometimes we call it perfectionism. Sometimes we call it being sensible. Sometimes we just tell ourselves we're waiting until we feel ready. But often we're just simply protecting ourselves from the possibility of being wrong. And in mediumship, that can become a huge problem. You receive from the spirit world a feeling, an image, a name, a memory, and in that tiny space before you say it out loud, the mind jumps in with questions such as, is that right? Does that make sense? The million-dollar question in mediumship, have I imagined it? And what if they say no? And all of a sudden, suddenly, you're no longer listening to the spirit person. You're no longer in their energy because you're in your mind, you're analysing, you're trying to control it, trying to be right. Because mediumship, it asks us to do something very different, I feel. It asks us to trust, surrender, have a willingness to speak before we fully understand, and have the courage to sometimes get it wrong. And maybe that applies to life too, doesn't it? Because how many opportunities do we miss because fear has already decided the outcome? The jobs we don't apply for, the conversations we don't have, the thing we want to create but we keep putting off. What might happen if we stopped waiting to feel fearless and simply just moved anyway? Today, medium, teacher and YouTuber Charlie Kelly returns to the Soul Sync for a conversation about fear, ego, confidence, perfectionism, and what can happen when we finally stop needing to be right. This is the Mediumship Breakthrough. Oh, I'm so excited. I've only just hit the record button and I can't wait to say it. Charlie Kelly, welcome back to the Soul Sync.
Thanks for having me.
It's lovely to have you back. And our last conversation was so interesting. It left me with a lot of different thoughts, actually, in terms of my mediumship, and because you made some really, really good points. And actually, a lot of listeners also got in touch as well because of some of the points you made. So firstly, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really busy. So I've got a residential coming up in Birmingham. So 2 weeks.
I've seen it advertised.
Terrifying.
So that's in Birmingham. When is that?
Next week.
Oh, next week.
Yeah.
Oh, so by the time I release this, it'll have been and gone.
Been and gone. There you go. Yeah. So looking forward to it.
Lovely. Good. So it's lovely to have you back. I guess, you come on the podcast at a really interesting time for me, my mediumship, how that's unfolding because of, the fact I now find myself in the world of unemployment, and I know there's a lot of people who say that, but, I'm sort of sitting here almost feeling excited at the prospect, because I was saying to you before we pushed the record button that, I've been saying, Charlie, for a year now, if I didn't have my business, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing this. And it's almost like the proof is in the pudding now. I've got to do it.
Yeah, that's it. The stars have aligned. So
the stars have aligned, and that's like you said, be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. But I mean, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. You just got, I think that there's so much fear around that kind of thing. When you've got the kind of development that people want to go into like a full-time thing, it's just the fear of it failing or going wrong. And the reality is, if you just keep making sure you do the checkpoints, make the discipline and keep delivering, it will just take care of itself, won't it? So
it will. I have found that since, I've left my job, my mediumship has just come on so much, because I didn't realise how I thought I was present in times of doing mediumship and whatever, but I wasn't present. There's always something going on in the subconscious.
Yeah. And worry. I mean, it weren't an easy job you done either, though, was it? So
no.
It's difficult, a lot of thought going into it. So you think you're throwing everything at it, but as you said, that subconscious will be worrying about tomorrow, the deals, is the paperwork signed, all of that is space that they would use, isn't it? So.
Well, recruitment is like one of those jobs as well, that you never switch off, because there's always something going on, and not just something, lots of things going on. And if lots of things aren't going on, you should be stressed, because that means you haven't got anything going on. So you almost kind of thrive. And I guess
100%.
I guess I've kind of lived in that environment for a long time, and I hadn't realised after 15 years of sales, I've become very good at it, and that's where I've honed a lot of my psychic skills, actually, in reading people. And I didn't even know what psychic was at the beginning of my recruitment career.
But a great line of work to be using it in as well, though. So, yeah, of course.
It is.
That'll be fine-tuned, not even on a development level. You'll just be absorbing every day, won't you? So people, traits, personalities, characters, it'll all just be absorbed by you, recognising the red flags, taking it from there, which is all psychic development, isn't it? So
it is. I've kind of got certain detectors, I guess, I built up over time. I've got the bullshit detector. That's very sensitive. I can sniff out the bullshit very easily.
That's a good one to have, though. It's a good one to have. So.
Well, it is. I would say I've got a money sensor for candidates and things like that. But I wanted to get stuck in today to the mediumship with you, because you really described something last time which made a lot of sense, and I wanted to unpack that a bit more, because you talked about the process of stacking and kind of getting the evidence and the way you say it. And something that really rang in my head was when you described that the beginner into mediumship gets the car, the intermediate might get the red car, and then it's advanced, it's you're bringing through. And I've got your mum, and she showed me the car. I've started your technique recently, Charlie, just in the last few days since I've had a bit of flow.
And it works.
Well, it does, because you're fueling the power, aren't you, by doing that?
Yeah, of course. Of course, but you're not. I think when you go through the layers of beginner, intermediate, advanced, when you've got that kind of thing, the beginner is always working in like an energy of fear and failure. So you're developing a skill set that is just saturated in fear. I hope they're there. I hope someone turns up. The intermediate has learned that they've done it 100 times now, and funny enough, they've always turned up. So there's a little bit more space there. Your faith, you're leaning into it a little bit more. You've got a bit of a skill set going, and you lean into that a little bit more. And so that space that is occupied by fear can get the red car. Not just the car, it'll be the red car, but there's a little bit more room there now. And then the advanced, you go into that advanced professional kind of mindset. They know they're there. And you've done this thousands of times now, so you'll get the reg of the car if you want it. It's just whether it's relevant in the moment, isn't it? So it's a great statement to give the reg of a car, but first and foremost, the client has to know it, or it's a wasted statement. So.
Well, or you could get, a no, and I guess that's the thing about the evidence and how you deliver it. You say saturated in fear mediumship. It is, isn't it? Because every aspect.
The whole lot. Classrooms are the worst because you've got other mediums that are training. And for whatever reason that'll be, I'll go, right, who's coming in? It'll be someone called Louise, let's say. And I'll go, how are you getting on, Jason? And you'll be like, oh, I'm just, I'm thinking about selling up the business and doing it full time. Well, poor Louise now, she's like, no, he's better than me. And so in that moment, it's like she feels inferior. And so she'll always just pop you on a pedestal because you use the word professional or full time, or so now you're on a pedestal in Louise's mind. You don't know you're on a pedestal, but you are in her mind. So she'll be absolutely fine through the other classes, beginner. I'm going to put you with Jason, and she'll mess it up, and it'll be the fear that's within the bowl. Within that bowl of ingredients that made up Louise would use for the communication.
We'll be right back.
If you find this podcast helpful, please take a moment to spread the word by rating it or reviewing it wherever you listen.
It's funny because I've always felt much more nervous in actually doing it for clients or doing it to, well, I guess I want to use the word muggles. I've always felt much more comfortable doing it with mediums, but there is a lot of fear there because first of all, well, this is how I was. I really deeply care. I am bringing through someone from the spirit world. I've got to decipher between my mind and imagination. So even to the point that you can fluidly start delivering evidence, you have to get to a point of believing in this. If you're not believing in the spirit world in the first place, like I was dabbling, Charlie. I was wanting to see if it was real.
Like a hobbyist or something like that. I understand that. Yes. But I also understand why people do that. It's all exciting. It's magical. You run a class energy and you watch the magic just enlighten the individual in front of you. They can feel the energy. Oh my God, this is amazing. But you've got no idea where that magic leads. And so right now it's there. And so you've got it. The problem that we have as a medium is we take a step forward. And so you've got a couple of months under your belt and then you hit a year. What all mediums forget is to look back at that class when they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Now critique's at its max. Like, deliver. This thing is meaningful to you. I'm so passionate about my work, and any little mistake is just going to outweigh any kind of joy that I'm going to get through it. Hence the plateau. Hence the idea of I may give this up. Maybe it's not for me. And the reason we're saying that is because we get one tiny little detail wrong and our world is imploding. Oh my God, I've messed it up. Oh my God, I've got to know. Oh my God, but not offsetting any of that with, but look how many statements you got right. And I see day in, day out with students, it's like 3% of the reading was no. The other 97% was top draw. Top draw statements, top draw delivery, top draw energy. And I'll say, so how'd you get on? They're like, oh, I don't know. I've messed it up. I've wrecked it. I was like, 3%. You messed 3% up.
Well, we do that, don't we, as human beings? We absolutely
in everything.
We do it, yeah. We beat ourselves up. How often, does the inner voice in our head, give us positivity versus critique? We love to critique on every level.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, it's the ego that's in fear, though, isn't it? It's like, Jason, don't get up. You make us look stupid. Jason, don't say that. What if you're wrong? And that little voice in your head it grows in stature, it grows in power. If I feed into it, I just tell mine to get in the crate. You need to piss off. I'm on stage now. Go away.
But you've trained that to stay in the cage, and you've also trained it in how to get in the cage. Because
100%. I think there's you really have to understand that you've got to nurture that though. Like, so I like on stage, I don't care. I'll take the hit. It's my mistake, my bad. Over to me. It's my fault. Ego's in the crate. But if I'm playing games, and I win the competitive competition that I've entered. Oh mate, I'm up in the air. I'm parading around like a peacock. I am amazing, but I'm allowing it time to run out of the cage. I feed it, I water it, I take it for walks, I let it burn all its energy.
Oh, you have quite a good relationship with it. It's almost sounding like a dog to me.
Exactly needs to be treated like a dog. If you don't train the dog plays up.
There's something in that the dog, because if you, and I was thinking about this, because when you need to start putting that in the box, you need to bring it back slowly and you need to train it. But, you know, like a dog, if you're going to shout at it to sit and treat it badly, you know, it's not going to work. You've got to be gentle.
It'll be disobedient. And any opportunity, you leave the crate door open by mistake, you don't quite pull the latch, bang, that dog's out. And that's in a symbolic kind of way. That'll be on the stage when I'm receiving adoration or applause. No, I've left the cage undone. Bang, out it flies, and it'll parade around. So yeah, you got to be on top of it. So I'll tell Carol how good I am at everything when I'm not.
Does
working.
she believe you?
No, of course not. Of course not. Yeah. But it's just the exercise in it when it needs running around.
It's interesting. I think even the fact that you call it a cage, that's a kind of visualization. That's how you interpret it. You know, there's something in that, you know, you found a technique that works for you that, you know, someone said to me,
I think all of development, I'm not sure about where you went or what you did, but I'm under no illusion. I feel like every teacher or everyone that I know that does or teaches in mediumship, it's like we don't talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about the ego. I'm spiritual. We don't have an ego. I don't judge. I'm not a judgy person. The fact you're human, you're judging. Judgment kicks in at 7 hertz on the mind map. So you're waking up at 7 hertz. You're making judgments. Am I safe? You're judging immediately. And the ego is very, very present. The ego is the identity of Jason. You know, on the poster, tonight's medium is Jason. And that's the ego. It's the identity. And my role, my task is to dissolve my identity on the poster, on the Facebook pages, and dissolve that identity the moment I stand up and say, I have a man that wants to join me.
You go in the back door with a blindfold on just so you can't see anything.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But that's my job. No one cares for my opinion in that moment. They want to speak to their dad. They want to speak to their mum. They want to. So I've got to dissolve my opinion or my judgments at that point. So at that point, parade all you like, but not now. We're working now. And this is important to me. This is special to me. That it just crawls off now because I feel sick. I feel like my belly flips. I've got no idea who's coming. I've got no idea what I'm going to talk about. And then I start and I can feel my ego go, oh, you're doing that thing again. You can make us look stupid here. And it just crawls off. And I can literally feel it just crawl away. Like, I'll see you in an hour. I'll see you in 2 hours, whatever it is. So,
do you know what? I think so much of mediumship. And there's something in what you're saying, definitely with development, training, this, that, the other. It's all about the technical aspects of how to connect to spirit. But the actual ego, the self, should be the biggest part of it. Because if you want to develop mediumship, you need to. It does not work without working on yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Absolutely. And I think that without offending anyone, I think everyone wants the shortcut. Everyone, like, man, this is a journey. I want this quicker. I want that. But the problem is we put so many of those self-development moments on the back burner. Like, that can wait. I'll deal with that later. And we put it on the back burner. But by putting it on the back burner, you put a blockage in front of you or a barricade. It's not locked or anything. It's just there. And then I deal with the back burner and the barricade just moves a little bit further on. And so that self-development, that growth is like a spiritual growth. You're acquiring knowledge, you're acquiring understanding. And through that personal development, you'll instantly become a better medium. So just because you understand that the world doesn't evolve around me, Charlie. You know, I'm main character in my story, but an extra in yours.
Well, you're not even Charlie. Exactly. That's just a label. That's just your label for your meat suit, isn't it?
Exactly it. And so if I can suppress, like, I'm offended or I'm bothered, give me this. If I can suppress that, then Dad will tell me everything I need to say.
We'll be right back.
Hello, my darlings. I'm launching a brand new monthly newsletter. Think of it as SoulSync in your inbox once a month.
or we'll be like pen pals. I'll tell you what I'm up to with my mediumship, what I've been doing over the month. There'll be free meditation downloads, events. Sign up jasonpaulmedium.com down at the bottom of the homepage, and I'll see you there. See, the interesting thing about that is everything you are saying there is a self-development point. Not once are you sitting there saying, I need to push my aura out. I need to throw my third eye over my head. I need to build my energy. It's about working on you, and this is what I've
it's a
learned.
business model also, ain't it? I can sell you blessed water that I've sat on top of, if you like, and in bottles.
How much is it, Charlie? I imagine about £3.99.
Yeah, per 10 mil. And I can sell you,
jeez, you selling that?
I can sell you crystals, and I can sell you scarves and CDs, but the real work's done internal, isn't it? Them things, they're gimmicks, they're gimmicky.
If you was going to have any merchandise, I would say you do a meditation, but it's on vinyl.
That'd be cool.
Even I've learned, and I think this is important because a lot of people really struggle with this, and I think especially people coming into the spiritual world or whatever, you beat yourself up so much because you can't understand how to control the ego. And it's even interesting, isn't it, that you've been in this world for a long time, and even people would assume, a medium who's done it a long time, of course they know how to, like a clear vessel. You've done it. It's always chipping back in.
Or you've always got to keep on top of it. I'm forever talking about discipline. It's like, these are the things that I must do if I want to be successful. And not enough people are using the disciplines to get to where they need. So you're not allowed to have an opinion. And the problem is that there's a big self-fulfilling part within a mediumship that shouldn't really be there. I want to know. I need to understand what it is that you're giving me. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You have to say it for me is your task. Your understanding of the statement is irrelevant. I want to talk to my child. I want to talk to my partner. Is what the spirit communicator would be doing. And that need to know, that need to understand, that need to know where the narrative is going, where is this story leading, is the very thing that stops it.
Well, so many people, if the amount of times I hear individuals, mediums say, right, okay, now the spirit person give me this, or they're trying to control every aspect of the reading, even to what comes through.
Absolutely.
Here's the name, here's the person, the evidence in itself, I even think in a message, is actually quite boring.
Well, it's boring if you are doing it in like a polite way or whatever. If the message is like, take your story, for example, right now. You've got a lot of going on in the background. You've got your business, this, that, and the other, and you're tippy-toeing around the professional aspects of mediumship. The reality is the message won't be one of like, you've got this, Jason, come on, you've got this, because you know that. It will be more of, Jason, pull your fucking finger out. What are you doing?
It's interesting because even at this juncture right now, I feel a mix of emotions. I feel liberation. I feel excitement. I feel confidence. There's lots of good things I feel, but I'll get the ego chip in saying, "Oh, you're unemployed now. Oh, is that going to work? Are you going to be able to do that?"
Exactly.
And I'm having to say, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah. I don't want your opinion today. Shut up. Go away.
But you have to train yourself, and you have to rewire.
I think I just got fed up, and I mean, I don't think everyone will live the life that I'm trying to live or whatever. I just got fed up with that fear. If we bulk it all together as a fear, it ruined so many days of my life. So many. I didn't go for the job. I didn't start the relationship. I didn't take the chance. I didn't, because I was scared. And just one day I just got up and I was like, I fucking had enough of fear. I've had enough of it. Like my daily battle now is, how many times can I beat fear in one day? And I reflect every single day and say, I was scared to do that and I still did it. I won. I don't want to stand up in front of 300 people. I'm terrified. My belly's flipping. I want to throw up. Well, I don't care. You're scared. So fear, you're not winning this one. And I'll go out and I go, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like, tough now, ain't it? I've won now. I'm stood here. I'm talking. So I didn't want to go through France. I didn't want to take 8 weeks out and try like an adventure with fishing. And so I booked it. I was scared, but I booked it. Now I'm doing it. And just won't let fear win. Just will not let it win. It's a personal daily battle that I have. And I just remind myself how many times I beat it today. And it could be anything. It could be something stupid, something silly, but just don't let it win. Don't let it back in with anything. So it'll be scared to speak up, scared to have a voice, scared to say my true feelings, scared to say, but I just override it. And it's so empowering, so empowering to be able to not let fear cripple you from the inside out.
To start to live that way, you know, to step into your power, so to speak, obviously took courage. What was this moment when you said, right, fuck this, I've had blood enough of this?
Do you know, I actually remember where I was. It was a crazy day. There was a lot of pressure, you know, I was traveling a lot through Europe and what have you, which I tend not to do much now, not because I'm not booked, just because I don't want to. And the diary kind of works for me now, not me work for the diary. I was stood in a shop. And I was late for an appointment, but I had to stop at this shop. And in front of me was this nice guy, nice lady. I was in a village, and she was like, "You right, John? How's Beth getting on? And how did that appointment go?" And in my head, I was like, "Mate, I'm in a hurry. Mate, I'm in a hurry. Please hurry up. Like, get the conversation done." But I know that they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know I was being held up, but the 8 people behind me probably were busy as well, you know? And I just leaned forward and I said, "Look, I know you know each other and you're having a conversation, but I'm in a rush. I don't even mind you ignoring me and carrying on the conversation. Just get the queue gone." And she apologized. And she done the queue. They carried on with their conversation. The queue went straight down. And I was like, oh my God, what a result that was. Hopped in the car, made the appointment. I was a little bit late or whatever. But I remember in that moment, I was like, I'm not arguing with this voice in my head anymore. Like, my peace is too important to me now I've had a taste of it, which you're going to know. You'll see that in a year. So Jason,
Charlie, I think I'm seeing it now. I think I'm feeling it now.
And that voice is eventually your peace will outweigh anything else. So there's nothing worse than being in a situation and you're like, do you know, I wish I had just said, I wish I had done, I don't have that train of thought now. I did it. It went off. I did it. And it's just everyone knows what page they're on when you respond like that and you react like that. It hasn't got to be angry or violent or anything. It's just a true sharing of what you're doing to me in this situation, what I'm doing to you, how I'm thinking. But I'm not sitting at home 1 o'clock in the morning going, "Oh my God, I wish I had just," because I did it.
Sometimes you have to get to that, because there's been a lot of times in my life when I've got to that kind of, I just can't fucking do this anymore. Yeah. You know, there's times.
I honestly think they don't know what it's doing to you, though. I honestly, I don't think they're getting up in the morning and going, right, how can we wind Jason up today? How can we stir the pot? How can we really get him angry and like, you know, like really all het up inside? I don't think they're doing that. I think their world is their world and they're important in their world. And they don't realize the impact it has on people that are close by, close proximity. And if you're not telling them, they don't know.
No, the thing is, the profession I've done for a long time couldn't be more in the land of the ego. It's just evolves around money, and I think what's I found, and you say about peace, I have been times in my life when I have been not had a penny to my name. Yeah. Then I've gone to the other extremes when I've had more money than I know what to spend with it. Then I've lost it all and whatever. Right now, peace is what I want. And I didn't even realise until just the other day, until my mediumship was like, Charlie, you'd have been proud of me. You'd have been like, whoa, look at him flow.
But I think you don't realise just how much you're working from your day-to-day in a job that is obviously around money and ego or mediumship. I don't realise how much you think or pay attention to that you're running on high levels of anxiety.
Oh God, yeah.
And then anxiety comes off the table, and you're like, "Oh my God, I can breathe today," and that is just not worth giving up. Because
Well, I was always in a rush, always rushing.
always,
in the morning, in the gym, right, rush because I need to get to work, right, rush because I'm doing this. And I got so used to that way of existing.
Exactly.
But I honestly feel like mediumship came into my life, Charlie, for such a reason, because I owe a lot to mediumship in terms of how it's healed me. And even in the days leading up to the big, bang moment of me making that decision, I felt spirit around me so much. And my granddad he's a medium and he's a guide of mine. And he's in the spirit world now, but he comes through all the time because I think he loves teaching people. And he just did his serious stance, and you know when he's being serious, when he does his serious stance, and he was like, you need to do this. So I owe a lot to spirit. And isn't it interesting how, because I almost feel in such service to spirit, because I think, well, how much have you helped me, and that's only in the ways I understand, probably way much more than we understand.
I think you summed it up really well there without even realizing. Because it is a service. What you're saying, it is a service. And so for those that are developing mediums, this is the best time to catch them. Is like, I want and give me this and do that. It's not a service. It's I'll do it if I know what you're talking about. That's not service. That's under condition. So I need you to stand up and say everything that I give you through your sensory experience, okay? And then I say, yeah, sure. And then I go through the sensory experience and I say everything that I'm aware of. It's service. I'm not saying, but I want to know how you died. I need to know who I'm talking to. I don't. I'm aware of that, and this is what he's asking me to say. And then I say it is service. And a lot of people band that around quite a lot. I hear that a tremendous amount, like, well, I'm in service, but well, you're not though, are you? You're in service providing you understand what it is that they're talking about, which is under condition. And those are two separate subjects. So, and that makes it really easy to then get up because I'm offsetting it. So, like I've got children and, that I can be defiant or whatever, but if they need my help, I'll drop everything and go for them. I'll die on the hill if need be. They're my children. And that's how I am with this. I'll die on the hill. I've got no problems with it, but I'm in service of. They need me now. I'm going to do this, and this voice needs me to say this on my stage. Thanks for coming. Now I've got a lady that wants to join me. What am I saying for you? And I say the things, and I ain't got a clue what I'm talking about. I might make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I haven't. And all I need is the client to say yes. You understand that? Yep, let's move on then. And then I move on. Is a service. There's nothing more annoying than I live near you and I say, can you give me a hand with these heavy boxes? And you go, yeah, sure. I'll be there at 10. So I open my door at 10 and you say to me, where's these boxes? And I say, they're down the side here. Need them in the garage. And you're like, yeah, cool. What's in it? I'm like, well, it don't matter what's in it, does it? I need them moved. And now you're picking out the box. Like, well, why have you bought that? What's that for? Why are you putting that in the garage? That's a really annoying medium. Because then,
Charlie, I'm the sort of person, if you told me not to open a box, I would be able to help myself.
Yeah,
I'm in it. I'm a nosy. I'm a nosy person.
Yeah. So, and that's, I think catch that early, and then mediums have a lot more freedom in their mind. If you catch it early, it's more difficult if they've got a 10-year development under their belt and someone's been telling them to understand the statement. And if, you don't need to, you're giving it away.
Well, even I was looking at a medium the other day, and a lot of what you said last time did resonate because I was looking at myself in that medium from when I was at a stage of I stand up, and even because I've always had charisma, even if I'm not getting good evidence, I'll still keep you entertained. Do you know what I mean? I know that's not, but
good way of looking at it.
Well, yes, but there is something in that you want to raise the energy of the room, don't you?
Absolutely.
But I would get bit of evidence, and I was watching this medium, and he was getting a bit, and then obviously would go into his head, and then back out again, and then in and out of the energy because it's sticky. But yesterday I did a reading, and this is how it powered it. So I was talking because I'll tell you something before I even say this. I always get the relationship wrong, but that's because I'm just almost like I want to know it to say it because I feel that I have to.
Yeah.
So, and isn't that funny that that's even something I've got in my head? So now I've stopped with the relationship. If I don't feel a relationship...
If I've got my sisters in the spirit world, and if you talk about her dancing in these shoes and that dolly that one time, I don't need you to say sister. I know exactly who it is.
You almost, a medium's obsessed on, okay, who is it? You're trying to get who it is before you've even, you're putting a filter, aren't you?
I just don't care. And what I found over the last 10 years is that if my client needs the relationship, it's nearly the first statement. So I've got a man that's here and it's dad, actually. And then I would go into it, but the client needed it. If I say I've got a man here, but he wants to talk about his brassware, people, he had this crazy collection of brassware. They don't need to hear dad. They're like, yeah, I know that is. And so they just move on. So I just stopped caring about that. Just like, it's not for me.
Well, even that's what I did yesterday. And I was really noticing, because a penny dropped for me the other day, whereby I had a man with one of these special machines put a photo of me into his machine, and then it brought up all these different things like my allergies and everything, because it used some kind of special machine that uses quantum energy. I can't remember what it's called now, but it really made me think, my God, if there is that much resonance in a photo that it can detect my allergies, my diabetes, this, that, the other, it's almost like made me look at the manipulation of energy in a communication. So I noticed...
Without a doubt.
Well, this is where I got to. So I started, and the first thing I brought through was, I got this lady, and she wants to talk about her Raymax. Straight away, you're empowering, because that spirit person is all of a sudden identified, etc. And it really made me...
It's immediate, though, isn't it? It's like the mistake that the new people, I understand, they make a mistake with a style of teaching that's like, we need a gender, we need a relation, we need a passing, which is kind of like a get it going, get it moving kind of way of working. But it's not to stay there. It's stabilizers, it's just to get you moving. And then once you learn how to move, let go of that. And it's the things like, if I was in the spirit world and you were the medium, I'd be like, if you said this, this, and this about me, she'll know exactly who it is. She'll know exactly. Just say those three things. And in that moment, when your client hears those things, like maybe today's the day, maybe he's coming to me, maybe it's going to be that, and you say those three things, you hear the intake of breath. Oh my God. That is him. Oh my God. And your work is already done now. They know you're in the room. Now you can get right into the nitty gritty and the beautiful layers of mediumship, where now he wants me to talk about, now he wants me to say, now he draws my attention to. And it's just adding to it, add. And that's when the emotion starts.
Even in the language, though, because if you're, you've got to look at your language. Language is so important because, words carry resonance and frequency. And,
Of word. Yeah, there's a power in the word. Yeah. It's like, you spoke of your granddad, and we'll speak of that stance that goes with your granddad.
Yes.
There will be a moment in your memory that you've stored as a very small boy that when someone mentions the stance, it's almost like a flicker pad of memories that go off. And it's like, bum, 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 and you're there, you're in that moment. Oh my God, yeah, I remember the first time, or when he done that there, and now you're rattling all these memories off. But the memories were activated by the word stance. Your job is to activate the memory. That's your job as the medium, activate the memory. So we're too busy trying to make it sound detailed. We're too busy trying to make it sound good. For someone we don't fucking know, by the way. We don't know them. We don't know how they stored their memory. So I need to talk about stance. So as I work with the man, he wants me to talk about, that's not mediumship, that's presentation. As I work with a gentleman, he wants me to talk about nothing in mediumship. Stance. Bang. Bum, 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 bum. All the memories activated. Now he draws
because
my attention to.
the memories won't be activated. This is the thing, because language is important. Because if you was to say, okay, I've got a man and I'm feeling that he's a bit uptight, you've got to look at the language that you use.
When you were a young boy and you looked at your granddad, you would never sit there and think, I wonder how he handled money. I wonder what he was like when he argued with other family members. You'd have been protected from all of that. All of it. You'd have been protected. Like, you're his world in this moment. Let's go kick a ball. So you need to hear about the ball, not how he handled money, not about the dysfunction in the family. It'll be about buying new candy or chocolate at the shop. Here's £1. You know, and that pound is like, you're rich for the moment. And people are like trying to make it sound like really good, but your memories are stored as a boy. Now, if I'm working with your mum that you lost last week, that's different. That's a different scenario. But what you don't know is where this memory lies. You have to trust this person that comes forward. So I know they want to talk about the dysfunction in the family because it was last week. But this guy, he wants to bring a ball and he's trying to give me £1. He's got this really funny stance with him. And you're teleported back to when you're 8 years old. Oh, my God, I remember it.
You talk about, obviously, activating the flick book of memories. But to do that, you need to be confident. So when I've been doing my mediumship before, you know, the difference is having the confidence, the trust and the total surrender to not...
It's a really simple exercise for that, though. It's really simple. So I've got my board out. I'm teaching later. So see this version of me. Maybe you can wear it if you like. I'm a dick.
Yes,
I am an absolute dick. This guy. But when I cross my place of work, the threshold, and I'm working for the spirit world, he's not allowed in because he's a dick. He's not allowed in. I need discipline. I need everything like that. Now, I'm not confident in my ability to grab this and send Jason a text. My confidence is in the instrument that I'm using. So I don't know how it works. It beams off the tower out the back there, then pings on your tower, and you receive a message. But it's not confidence in, look at me, I can send a text message. My confidence is in the thing that I'm using. And in the communication, my confidence is in the man that wants to join me knows his story, believe it or not. He knows everything that I need to say. He's got all the information. So I don't need any confidence in myself because he's got it all. So I say to him, what am I saying? And he says, well, you need to talk about that ball. Talk about that little shop where we went and got the hard-boiled sweets and talk about my stance. Cool. I don't need confidence there. What I need is just to say it, and that's scary. That's the bit where the butterflies kick in and the belly flips and it goes over and over and over and I want to throw up. But it never goes wrong. Ever goes wrong. And I think that feeling that I have in my belly where it flips and I want to be sick and I start sweating out and I get nervous, I think I mistake that for nerves. When
it's actually building of the energy, isn't it?
Exactly. The man's just joined me and now I've got this weird feeling in my belly and I feel scared and I don't know what to say and I don't know what to do. And my brain's doing that because I can't see it. I don't know what it is. And so
as soon as you get a bad belly or something, Carol.
Exactly. But then I follow it. And now this stranger that I do not know, I don't know this man and I don't know the stranger in front of me, but they're like, oh my God, that is him. Oh my God, that did happen. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I've done, I don't know the numbers now, but it's over 3,500 public dems. And they all work. Every time I turn up and I do that thing where I'm like, you're not allowed in, you're a dick. We need this version of you. And what am I saying? And I say it. What I never do, ever, is change it. I never change. If they show me a nurse, I'm saying nurse. If you,
but the moment you start changing it, it's because you've got that way of working. Like you said last time, it's about
it's the man joins. He comes to me. He gives me the information. And I've got to give it away to this individual. I've got to give it away. But along the time, I'm judging this guy, and that box is closing in, and I think I know where he's taking it. So the next statement I'm prepared to say fits this narrative. So I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. But then he gives me one that doesn't fit. And you'll watch the medium. They'll go in their head like, well, that don't make sense.
Well, it's an instant, when that happens to me and I go in my head, there's an instant, the energy, all of a sudden.
Course, because it's about you now, isn't it? It's about you, like you understanding and going from there. The funniest story, I may have shared it with you, Jason, is I was treating the garden with that farmer grade pesticide. Carol went and got her hair done, and I'm pumping the pumps as she walks around the corner and it explodes all in her hair. I'm on the floor laughing my head off because she's going bald in the morning, and I'm dying. And I'm trying to say to her, you need to go and wash it. Now, in mediumship, that story will never leave me. I thought I was going to die from laughter. That story will never leave me, and it'll never leave her because she was so angry. But mediumship, that would be, I need to talk about a spray can. And she would be like, right. And then explosion, she'd be like, right. And now he shows me hair. And the whole memory would come in. The whole moment. And she'd be like, oh my God, that is him. But mediums are like, well, how does hair go with a spray can?
But
And
this
that is where it goes wrong.
That's the problem. You know, you don't, try and make sense of something or even interfere with it because you never know. And like, that's where you get so many mediums at the beginning of their journey. It's all very generic. I'm seeing the car, I'm seeing a tree, I'm seeing water because of the confidence of actually going forward. I think one of the big things that took me a while to really understand on this journey of discovery was the fact that we are all one. We are not separate.
Yeah,
that is
really.
The biggest illusion and what holds people up, isn't it?
100%. And it's almost, I forget now where I'm at. I think everyone sees it like I see it. And I forget, and I'm like, you're an idiot. They don't know what they're doing. Money's still important to them. That material thing's still important to them. They don't get what's happening. They don't understand what we are.
Because, Charlie, you just surround yourself with people who are like you. So we kind of assume mediums, the world's like this, but we are in the minority massively.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And it's so difficult because people want it so fast. They want this oneness to sort of be part of it, but people will fall out with one another through development, through real life. It hasn't got to be about mediumship whatsoever. And the fact is, let's say I've annoyed people over my life, and I'm sure you've annoyed people over your life. People kind of take it really, really personal. But it's like, Jason's just being Jason. Why has that annoyed me is the question that I should be asking myself. Why has that annoyed me? Jason's just being Jason. He gets up and he beats Jason every day. Why am I angry about that? Why am I frustrated about that? And that's the question you've got to ask yourself, because that gives you the insight to the work that I need to do on myself, because you're just being you. Now, no matter what that is, it's not your fault. You're just being you. You're being your authentic self, your true self, at that point in time, or you believe you are at that point in time. But everything about that irritates me or annoys me or makes me angry or is not your fault. It's my fault that I've let you do that to me. And if I can get my head around that, why did that annoy me? What triggers that? You start looking at parts of you that you didn't even know existed. You didn't even know it was there. And now you start fixing those bits. Well, people skills goes through the roof. Your communications go through the roof because I'm not judging anyone. They're just them. They're just them. And so the awareness is wide open. I'll work with anyone. And a lot of mediums ask me that. Like, I want to do more than the bacon nana. I want to be able to get but you simply can't when, they're the ones you enjoy working with, or them ones aren't irritating you or make you angry or whatever. You've got to lose that judgment of the individual. Jason's Jason, Charlie's Charlie. And with no apologies, they're just who they are. If that irritates you, that's not your fault. Why?
There's also, when you're bringing through a spirit person, They are so intelligent. It blows my mind because obviously we can't even comprehend that they can use you with every memory ever in your consciousness and use that as a paintbrush, so to speak. It
absolutely
blows my mind that that's even a thing. It is, but I honestly believe that the spirit people, they very carefully pick their medium, and my belief is that they've probably prepared for a very long time for that one opportunity at that exact moment to come through and communicate.
I think it works. I think that works. If you've got a demonstration coming up next week and you look there now, you look at that demonstration now, the communicators will be there. And what that will be, if I exchange this out and that's your guide, your team,
yes,
and you're the instrument of that guide, and you're a medium that says, I'm working with a lady that's mum's side of the family, which I think is a pointless statement. I'm not a fan of the statement. Because it's very restrictive. So now
it is restrictive.
So now the communicator joins the guide to work with the instrument. And this person will attempt to go in on the right side of this individual. And the guy's got to go, no, don't do that. Because he'll say fucking dad's side of the family. If you approach him from the right, you're going to have to walk all the way around and approach him from the left. So that, in effect, becomes the instruction manual for this instrument. So now I go to my iPhone 17 box, and I pull out the instructions to see how to do the settings and how to do this, and I follow the instructions, and it works fine. So you are an instrument, and the guide will be the instruction manual. So listen, my medium is still developing. If you show him water, I don't know why, he'll say fishing. If you show him a nurse, I don't know why, he'll say hospital. So don't show him a nurse if you want to talk about the hospital. That is a conversation that has to take place behind the scenes. And I don't even know the conversation that's taking place. So I want that instruction manual to say, give him exactly what you want him to say, because this idiot will say it. And so they talk to me about that, whatever that is. I want it literal as possible, and then I say it. And my accuracy then speaks for my development in my mediumship. Client says yes. So I want it as literal as possible. I don't want to be dancing around the houses. Don't want to be going all the way over there just to say that little thing there. I want it, tell me what you want me to say and I'll say it. No embellishment, no. So my guide should say to the communicator, at some point in my development, give him exactly what you want him to say. And this one will say it, he will say it. Or we can have that, you're going to have to show him butterflies.
But there has to be something going on behind the scenes. And 100%, I imagine
100%.
I imagine the guide almost handles like the bookings. I think my granddad is my version of that up there. But I had to, a little while ago, have a conversation with my spirit team and say, look, guys, we need a total reset because you have been giving me nurse and I have been saying hospital and you have been giving me a boat and I have been saying the sea. So I had to have a total reset and say, right, from this moment forward, I will just do as comes to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
instantly,
and I think everyone needs that reset. I think everyone needs that reset, everyone, because of the embellishment. But the problem is you'll watch a YouTube, you'll watch an American TV show, you'll watch something, and they make it sound great. But you don't see the 8 hours of editing that goes into it sounding great. You don't see that. And so what you want is the raw file. You want to see it unedited. You want to see it put out there and watch the link unfold there. And most of it will be wrong, or, I can take that or get it validated at every step of the way. And it's just not done. And that's where the raw files will come in. And what mediums have got, they've got this idea that I'll just make it sound a little bit better. And by adding just that little sprinkling of making it sound better, that they now move it to a no. They move it out of the realm of acceptance for the client because of that little sprinkling. And
what would you describe? How would you describe this little sprinkling? What is this, Charlie?
What they'll do is they'll talk about like an example. So let's say something like, I know the man works with his hands. And my brain goes, what, as opposed to his ankles? Well, most people work with their hands, don't they? If they've got hands, if they're fortunate enough, they work with their hands. So what the medium then does is they'll say like. They'll say like, for example. And it's the example that the client hears. So, you know, this man's a risk taker, like, and maybe he was a risk taker. Maybe he was. But the medium feels like, I want to do more. I want to sprinkle a little bit more on that. Like cliff jumping. And they'll say, no, he didn't do cliff jumping. And the medium now thinks they're wrong.
Yes.
But they never check in and say, well, you don't understand him as a risk taker. And they'll say, oh, yeah, he was a risk taker. He just never jumps off mountains or cliffs. And so it's the example that the client hears. And they just don't understand that. You know, so he's got like vices, like drugs. Well, we had vices, but it wasn't drugs. So the example was wrong. Now, the example is that of the instrument, that of the medium. So in your story, whatever your story is, wherever you've grown up, whatever your surroundings are, the example will be to that environment. Now, if you're in an environment that's on a council estate that's run down, that's seen no investment and drugs was a big thing, then your example will be drugs. If your example's living in the city, but it's at top-end cocktail restaurants, your example will be alcohol. And so both examples lead back to the main subject. They had a vice. They abused something, to which they will say yes, but the medium gives the example, and that's where it will go wrong. So the way to learn or unlearn to do that is to get validated. So I think you'd understand your person.
Oh, I love it when you get your pen back out.
You'd understand that they had vices. Check in. You understand they had vices? Yes. Add a layer. You'd understand that to be cocktails? No. But you do understand this yes energy, that they had vices. Yes. Move on. But you're moving on in a yes energy, not trying to fix something that you don't know which one was wrong. I know exactly which bit I got wrong, and it's usually where I added the example. So you'll say, in your head, you'll have jewelry. In your head, you'll have jewelry. So if I ask Carol, give me an item of jewelry, like to signify it, she'll probably say a ring. And then with you, it may be a necklace or a watch. Now both are jewelry. So your example will be, I need to talk about this special item of jewelry, like a watch. And I'll say, no, I haven't got his watch. But Carol will get lucky because she's working with a lady, and her example will be the ring. So she'll say, I need to talk about a special item of jewelry, like a ring. And she'll go, oh, I've got the ring. And the medium thinks they said that, but they didn't. They gave an example and they got lucky. So now, if I say, check in with, you would understand this special item of jewelry. So I check in, they say yes. And then I say, you would understand that to be a ring. Then the client says yes, then everyone's like, oh, he's good. And that's the difference.
Yes.
I just check in. That's the only difference there. And I make sure that I'm not using examples. So with my communicator, what am I saying? I need to talk about a special item of jewelry. Okay, what is that item? And then they show me a ring. Then that'll be yes. So, but I get 2 yeses.
You're keeping the power and you're constantly
100%.
building the power, because the validation, you know, I do that quite a lot. I will constantly check in, but it's a very, can you understand that?
Yeah. You'll get annoyed with your own voice, though. There's no doctor in the land that says, right, open your mouth and say, and they're not sick of saying that.
Yes.
So you'll always be like, and you would accept, you understand, you can validate. You find different ways of saying you get that, right?
Yes.
There's different ways of doing that. You'll get over that. There's a terminology. You'll play with your language and you'll get through. But you do need to hear the yes. And what I mean is that I've watched mediums where they go on a mad rant, and so if let's take your granddad for example. So I could say, well, Jason, I've got your granddad that wants to step forward, and he's showing me that he used to steal motorbikes, and he would used to cut them up, and he would sell them for parts, and he would sell them to the local traveller community, and then he would go and steal them again, and he would make all that money again, and and then he started this drug business in the greenhouse where he was growing marijuana, and you'd understand that your granddad had a funny stance, Jason. And what you'll say there is yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And everyone in the room's like, he stole motorbikes and sold drugs, but you didn't agree to that. You agreed to the stance.
Yes.
And so you're like, no, hold on a minute. You're over talking. You're making this sound like a wonderful story, but none of it's validated. And so I watched one do it where they were like, I'm working with your dad, and I know that I'm in foreign lands, and they've got a vineyard, and you've got this family-run business where the wine is sold, and then they went into like pigs and a pig farm, and you understand that your dad smokes. And the woman said yes. And I looked at her, because I was in the audience, and I looked at her, and I was like, right, I'm collaring her after the den. I'm gonna go get that woman. So I went out. The den finished. I went out and I said, "So your family runs wine, like grows wine and manufactures wine?" She went, "No." And I said, "Well, what about the pigs and the pig farm?" And she went, "No." And I said, "So out of all of that, your dad smoked?" And she went, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my God." Then I started watching mediums do it all the time, and I was like, we can't be working like that. That's wrong. We need validating every step of the way after placement. So I understand you need 3 or 4 bits.
Yeah.
I've got a man, he owns his own business, but actually he died on holiday. I believe this to be dad. Where am I? Hand goes up. From that point, every statement should be validated. Every single
There's a lot in the presentation, in the timing, in the building of the energy. And this is why at the very beginning, you've just got to accept that you are experimenting. You've got to take the pressure off yourself. You've got to just not even be bothered by a no, because a no is part of the experimentation.
The reality is, if I connect with the spirit world, no matter what I talk about, if I connect with the spirit world, and it can be mundane, it can be boring, it could be whatever, but if you in your heart believe in that moment that Granddad can say, "Hiya, Jason," then the job is done. He's going to be elated. You feel great and move on. I think we all want the Netflix documentary crew around us. We want the bank account that supports it, and we want everyone to know that we're good. And until we get beyond that and the service of, let me heal your broken heart, let me ease that mind of you, and I'm going to do that via this person that steps forward. And then I just disappear, mate. You won't find me after the den. I'm getting changed. I'm getting out of a suit. I'm flicking on my hat, and I'm going to smoke a cigarette. And I leave Carol to deal with it all. So I'm out the fire exit. I want to get away as far as possible. I just want to go home and eat a bit of pizza and just chill out, because I did what I needed to do. And I don't really want all the admiration, because it feels a bit fake. I didn't do anything. This dad turned up and made his daughter cry because of the memories. And then this woman turned up and made her husband cry because of all the memories. And everyone's like, "Well done, Charlie." And I feel like I didn't do it.
Because you've got to that point.
I said what they wanted me to say, and they've made me look good. And so I feel like when they want to tell you like that was good, it feels like a bit of a false accolade. So I just escape. I just get out of the way. So
you're the receiver at the end of the day, aren't you?
Well, that's all. That's all. My phone's not like, "How good am I, Charlie? I sent that message to Jason for you." Very quickly, I'd be like, "Carol, I need a new phone. This one's going off. Like, it does not shut up."
Get rid of it. It's got a mind of its own.
But it is, isn't it? And so I just find it much easier now. I understand that you want to be good. You want to be of service, and you want to be that clearful. I understand that. And I think you need that fire in your belly to be able to tidy these statements up, when to check in, what to do. So there is a tremendous amount of work that goes into your discipline and your ego and all of that. And I completely get that. And that is a well done you, Jason, for putting the work in. But now I think at that point is when the real work starts.
Yeah.
Now we go and save people. Now we go heal people. Now we go and do the real work that you've put all that effort into. Now we go and save the people, their minds, their hearts. And
that's how I kind of feel. That's how I feel. I feel like I've got my cape on now. I want to go and...
Well, the reality is you want to save the world, don't you? You see, and you're so sensitive, and you're like, this is terrible. We need this and we need that. And so I get you. We've all got that feeling of like, we can save the world. Really, we can if we changed everyone's mind and da-da-da. Just some people don't want it. And equally, there's just so many. Like, what are we at? 9 billion on the planet now. 9 billion. Like, I'll take 4.5, Jason. You'll have to take the other 4.5. So we've got a lot of work to go and do, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
there is a lot to be done.
Never ending. Yeah, absolutely. It's loads and loads to do. It's just I just think like when you feel like I'm getting there, I think that's actually the start of it.
I believe so.
We've gone through all the traumas and the clearing up and addressing the ego and presentation and discipline, and now we begin. Let's go.
It's almost like, to use your telephone analogy, the phone's just had a clean up. All the fluff's been taken out the speaker. Now I'm ready to communicate.
Now you can hear. Yeah, now you can
all
hear.
The muck's gone, Charlie. All the muck's gone.
Exactly that. So... yeah, but equally, I completely get the passion I've got for the subject. I completely get that someone just wants to dabble. They don't want to do it full time, or I completely get it. It's amazing, you know. But I just can't, with the skill set that you go through in development and the knowledge that you acquire. I couldn't live with myself if I sat at home and wasn't sharing that with people. It just, I just couldn't do it. So it's like, I've stumbled across this magic, and it's almost like I'm treating it like I'm Gollum. It's my precious, it's my ring. I don't want to give it to anyone. And I think the gift is misinterpreted. We're to give it away. Go give the conversation away. Go give that away.
I don't think I've fully come to the acceptance that I'm a full-time medium. I feel that, but do you know what it is? I feel that I'm in a, do other things in business, but the reason I feel that I am going to end up getting pulled fully into mediumship is because of the service and the fact I think it's just, well, to be honest with you, it takes up so much of my time anyway, mediumship.
Exactly. I think the problem we've got is we've got a history. You know, and you look at that history, and I could go grab a book from down here, and there's one by Estelle Roberts there, and I could go, oh, I'm never as good as her. Then I don't feel like I'm a full-time medium. And I could look over there and see the Emma Hardy's Britain one. I'm like, well, her story was much harder than mine. I don't think I'm a full-time medium. But it's 2026 now. It's very, very different. The times are very, very different. And I think it's evolved in that way that it's very accepting now. Them two books that I've mentioned, you were crucified for it, you know, like... So it's like, it's a different time. And I just think that comparison deep down in our head is... I'm never going down as a pioneer. Maybe this ain't a full-time job for me. And, you know, if you read the ones of like, you know, of recent times, it'll be the big famous figures that you're comfortable with, that you've paid the ticket to go to the theatre and see them and go from there. But the comparison's there, isn't it? It's like, could I do that? I don't think I could do that as good. Maybe I'm not a full-time medium. And I think those elements chip away at us.
They do. You've got to, and I know this, step into that power. And even no matter what I do, I learned in sales, I think through the hard way of just, I always wanted to be number one, always want to be at the top. But I learned by focusing on someone else, by saying I want to be that person, you need to just focus on being the best that you can be within yourself.
And that's all I can do after every demo, after every class, after every residential. Can I sit down and say I gave that my best shot, which in my head is my discipline? I must do those things. And I'm comfortable in I'd done everything I could. There was nothing.
And you must lock that cage door. You must lock that, Charlie.
Absolutely. I wish some people would lock their cage door.
But... I know. Tell me about it. Well, it's been lovely, my dear, to have you back on. Leave us with a final thought today.
Final thought is, I think I've been teaching a lot in the last couple of weeks, and there's this like repetition of what's going on. So whether you're beginner or all the way through advanced in development, and I've been using a deck of cards. So if I hold up a deck of cards and I say to you, pick a card, and you pick the ace of spades, you disregard the other 51 cards of that pile. Your awareness is out there hunting for the ace of spades. And let's say I turn 10 cards and there is no awareness put on it until that 11th card is the ace of spades, the ace of diamonds, whatever one it was that I said. But that doesn't disregard everything that else went before it. And mediums in development, beginner, intermediate, advanced, professional, have got their eyes set on their ace of spades. And they're forgetting that there was 10 cards before it. And if we can open up our awareness to talk about all the things that need talking about, maybe it won't start as a man in his 70s that died of a heart attack. It'll be more to the point of who this man actually is, the important statements that we need to give. So there'll be a 3 of clubs and a 7 of diamonds and a 10 of hearts that are actually more important than the ace of spades. But our attention, our awareness is only looking for the ace of spades. And I think that's really, really important, that we look beyond gender, relation, passing, etc. We can get the fuller story out there. And most people will benefit from broadening their awareness to talk about the more random thing to the medium, but more importantly, the most important things for the client. Service.
Get to the emotions.
Yeah.
Charlie Kelly, all that leaves me to say is thank you for coming onto the Soul Sync.
As always, thank you for having me. So it's always my pleasure.
Well, wasn't that a really interesting, thought-provoking conversation? I do agree with Charlie that I always find that my mediumship is definitely the most powerful when I am absorbing myself in the feelings of the message, rather than getting lost in the technical detail. As always, I was sitting there making a number of notes, scribbling away. At the moment, I do have a open diary to some extent to do mediumship, tarot, psychic reading. So if you feel called to have one, you can book just by going to jasonpaulmedium.com on my website. And I look very forward to seeing you then. But until next time, lots of love.